guys, Pixel Dan coming at you from the Voltron Press, where I'm standing here with Brandon Thomas, who is the writer on Voltron and Voltron Year One, correct?
Yes, I'm writing both books for Dynamite Entertainment, and it's been a lot of fun so far. I'm getting to play with the mythos from a couple of different angles.
Okay, fantastic. So why don't you go ahead and explain? We'll start with just the regular Voltron book. Where's the story with Voltron going here? Is this like follow the original cartoon series, or what? How's this working out?
Both of the comic series treats that original cartoon as canon. So the main Voltron series takes place a couple of years after that, and Voltron Year One takes place a few months before that.
Oh,
so it's been pretty cool, but it was really important to us to actually preserve what happened to the characters in the cartoon. We didn't want to do we called it a soft reboot, so we didn't want to completely reimagine everything. So we maintained the core characters and the core events that happen, and this is just an extrapolation of that.
Okay, fantastic. So the main Voltron series takes place after the original cartoon series, but I assume this takes place before Voltron Force, which is the current cartoon series.
Yes, it's kind of nebulous in like where Voltron Force takes place in relation to our comic series. So we're pretty much just playing within the universe of the original cartoon. So this is my goal, was to write the Voltron cartoon that I would have loved as a teenager rather than as a young kid when I first saw Voltron. So when I first encountered Voltron, I was 6-7 years old. So I'm trying to write the comic that I would have loved when I was 14 or 15, when I was watching things like Batman the Animated Series or X-Men. Like when I was in high school, this is the type of Voltron comic that I would have really responded to. So it's been a lot of fun so far. They're giving me a lot of license to play with things. I actually just killed a fairly significant main character at the end of the 6th issue, but it propels us forward. We're about to start a brand new storyline in issue 7 called 10 Lions, bringing on a brand new artist in Stephen Harris, and it's going to be the debut of a new evil Voltron.
Evil Voltron.
Yes.
Well, I'm already excited and intrigued, I gotta be honest. So I take it then it's kind of almost like a mature look at it, since it's something you said you would look at as more of like a teenage self, or almost a more grown-up look at the events that happen after the original cartoon series.
It's not, I hesitate to use the word mature because people think it's mature? Like, no,
it's not like ultra-violent or anything like that.
Exactly. It's not mature. Like you said, it's grown up, basically. Okay. It's a little more grown up. The stories are a little more complex. There's a little more, it's a lot more involved than just the Roby shows up and Voltron forms the sword and kills it. So it's been a lot of fun so far, and they've allowed me to take the series into some new kind of exciting directions. And like I said, we're gonna have a new Voltron that debuts in the issue that hits in a couple of weeks, and it's completely evil. And nobody knows who built it, and nobody knows who pilots it. So it's going to be a big mystery that carries our Lion Force guys forward.
Awesome, very exciting. So let's go ahead and talk about Year One just a little bit here. Now, you said this one takes place before the original series. And in the original series, we kind of saw the team come together as the Voltron Force for the first time. So how does that actually work in this comic book if it takes place before all of that?
Well, in the comic book, what we're focusing on, it was important to me that even when I started the main book, one of my mandates was I wanted the space explorers to be dangerous outside of their lines. Because even as a kid, it always bothered me that they seemed a little, worthless and unprepared.
Right.
So this is kind of that. This tells you what the space explorers' mandate was before they, went to Eris and brought back Voltron. So it's more of a kind of like Mission Impossible kind of special operations, and you get to see a lot more of the larger universe. You get to see a lot more space explorers. We're introducing some brand new characters, a couple of cool new alien characters too. And what I wanted to do was I wanted to give a very specific justification for why that specific team of space explorers got that Voltron assignment. It always seemed very random to me. It's like, what? Why was it that team of space explorers and not this other one? So that's one thing that the series does. It provides a very hard and what I think is cool justification for why they were actually sent to bring back Voltron. And the question is, did they send this team because they thought they would succeed or because they knew they would would fail. So there's a really it's a really cool element that I think people are gonna really respond to once it's all done.
Awesome, awesome. So I assume that Voltron's not really like there a lot in this. It's a big build up to this whole thing.
It's a big build up to the whole thing. Another little change that we made was I thought it would be fun to put Sven in the lead role.
Nice.
So when year one starts, Sven is the commander of the team. So knowing that they're going to eventually be sent to Eris, and knowing that Keith is in charge of the team when that happens, it presents a nice character arc for Sven, which is one of the most abused,
right,
misunderstood Voltron characters.
Absolutely.
So it was a lot of fun to spend a lot of time delving into his character and the things that made him an effective leader, and the things that made him not an effective leader, and how kind of Keith ascended up the ranks, because he also, when the story starts, Lance is actually second in command. So that's another thing
so
that
Keith
happens.
has got to
So it's
work his
like,
way up.
so how does
Nice.
Keith jump over Lance to get into that commander spot, and how does that inform their kind of adversarial relationship, where maybe Keith gets something that Lance thinks he deserves, or he gets something, for what he believes are the wrong reasons. So it's a lot of fun to actually play with the characters when they're in this state. It's a lot of fun interplay between them, having a lot of fun with Pidge. Pidge is a little, he's a little badass. He's, because him and his brother is actually referenced. I wanted to put a little tie in there, but him and his brother are the youngest space explorers in the unit. So
Excellent.
So it's a little kind of a little cockiness on his part. How would that be if this kid is like 11 or 12 years old, and everyone else that he's working with is 10 years older than him? It's like, how does that inform his character?
Excellent, awesome. Well, I'll tell you what, both of these books sound very exciting, and I'm sure any Voltron fan out there really needs to probably be picking these up and checking them out. Yes. So these are both available now at comic stands?
Available now. There are 6 issues out of the main Voltron series, and there are 3 issues out of Voltron Year 1 available through comic shops, and also Comixology if you read your comics digitally. And they've been a lot of fun. We've had a very good couple of weeks. We've been getting a lot of Voltron Year 1, number 3, was voted one of the best 10 best comics of June.
Oh, excellent. Awesome.
June by MTV Geek. And our young artist, Craig Cermak, actually got nominated for the Russ Manning Award, which is basically kind of like the Eisner that's presented for Best New Artist every year. So the books have been getting a very good critical buzz. So once people get their hands on them and experience them, they've been having fun with them, I think. And the longer I work on them, the more it's like, oh, this is really, I'm really getting to the cool stuff now.
Awesome.
I've learned, every time I turn in a script, I learned something. So I think that Year 1 actually got off to a stronger start because of things I had learned from writing 4 scripts of the main series before it started. So, it just, the series keeps getting better. I keep getting better. The art keeps improving as we get used to each other. And it's just, I enjoy the process of it. I enjoy, turning in a script, and then the layouts show up, and then the finished art, and then the colors and the letters. So it's been a lot of fun so far, and people seem to be responding to it. So hopefully I'll be writing the main Voltron book for a long time. I have a really big 3 to 4 year arc that I'm building towards. So buy it so you can read it.
That's right. I'm sure we would all love to see that actually come to fruition too. Yeah. We got to see this 4-year arc play out here.
I know.
Awesome.
I know. It's all planned out. It'll be a lot of fun. But one of the big things going forward for the main book is that with this, without giving too much away.
Here we go.
With the appearance of a new kind of evil Voltron that is carrying out these kind of strike attacks all over the Galaxy Alliance starts to think that, maybe one Voltron is not enough.
I can see where that's going.
So what happens?
Awesome.
What happens when that becomes the question?
All right. That sounds very exciting. Well, Brandon, I want to thank you very much for taking the time to talk to us. It was great talking to you. Guys, make sure you're checking out both Voltron and Voltron Year 1 on comic stands now. From San Diego Comic-Con, I'm Pixel Dan reporting.